Hi, everyone. Welcome to Lobby Talks by Atolo. My name is James Lemon, the founder of Atolo, and we set up this regular event series to have ongoing chats, discussions, and share some ideas with industry leaders, Atolo mentors, and souls from around the industry who have got a lot to share as we think about rebuilding hospitality, encouraging people to make it their home for their career, and really just make sure that it's a sustainable, strong, and fun industry wherever we work in it. Hotels, accommodation, events, restaurants, dining, and much, much more. So hopefully we'll keep a short, sharp session and just celebrate the best of hospitality. At any time, you're welcome to join Atolo at myatolo.com. You can continue discussions with people that you hear about on Lobby Talks, or you can meet a whole global world of mentors and peers from around the industry. Really excited about today's session, our first of 2022. It is definitely one that's been in the waiting because the person I'm going to introduce you to has been a mentor with Atolo for probably well over a year, and a massive advocate of the industry, of Atolo, and of kind of building really great careers in it. So welcome to the stage, Naomi Hollas. Great to have you here.
Hello, how are you?
Really well, really
Good,
well. So
good.
start 2022, shaking off the dust of 2021. How are you?
Fine, not too bad. It's crazy to think it's 2022 and where the last kind of 2 years have taken us. And I don't know about you, but every time I think of like the last 2 years, I feel like they were yesterday. So yeah, it's not settled in yet, but it's good so far.
Do you do that thing of saying like, oh, remember that? I think it was last year. And everyone's like, no, I think that was 2019. It's just our brains are just switching off.
It's crazy. I graduated in 2019. I still think it's last year. So I'm just going to let's roll with that.
Exactly. It'll get confusing for some, but they'll pick it up. No, all good. Well, look, we are, still back in our bedrooms, but of course, for the sake of Lobby Talks, we're not in our bedrooms at all. We are in a glamorous hotel lobby, supping on fine drinks and great food. So tell us, Naomi, where are we meeting today? Where have you taken us?
Yes, so this is the Blythewood Square Hotel in Glasgow, and this was my very first job when I started my event education, and I moved from the Highlands of Scotland to Glasgow. It was my home for 3.5 years. It was where I met some of my best friends. It's where I had some of the best experiences, and it's really what helped me through college and university. So this is my home, my second home.
Really cool, really cool. And what is it? Give us a couple of strong memories you have of the hotel. What is it that you love about it?
So other than the fact the lobby is stunning, to work on a marble reception desk, I had never worked in not really worked in a reception before. I'd never worked in like a 5-star hotel before. But Blythewood was one of those places, and one of their values was local at heart. And that really hit home to me, where I was able to be myself, but also provide a 5-star service. And there was the chandeliers, there was the 5-star spa. We had great guests come to stay. Like some of my favorites are Marty Pello, which is really random, but he's a great person. And it was just a really great experience. And a really stunning place to work. So even it snowed outside and you're in this lovely lobby. Oh, it was lovely. But I highly recommend if anyone ever goes to Glasgow, even to pop in for a coffee, because it really is a stunning venue.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. We've actually got a few members of staff from the hotel on Atolo. So I do often hear about this hotel. It's one for the must visit list. And
Absolutely.
If you've got superstars from Wet, like Marty Pello there, I mean, even more so.
There were definitely bigger ones, but that one just sticks to me.
I mean, I've got a big sister actually. So posters of Marty Pello and like kind of Wet's greatest hits on constant kind of loop were definitely memories of my childhood. It's what you get with a big sister of that age. No, all good. Well, look, great to meet you here. Let's kick back and enjoy the best the hotel has to offer. So we'd love to get to know you. Our first section is called Career in 60 Seconds. You do a lot, Naomi. You're up to a huge amount. Are you up for the challenge? Can you give us your career in 60 seconds?
I can absolutely try. In Inverness, we talk really fast and naturally. I have toned it down over the years. So I was like, I could do this really quickly, or I'm just going to set it.
Okay.
I'll do my best.
Yeah. All yours.
Okay. So, yes. So I am, oh my goodness, where do I even start? So I didn't do very well in school, graduated very little grades, went to do, part-time hospitality work, retail work, until I started volunteering at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. So that was an amazing opportunity. I then moved down to Glasgow. I started studying at college. I then went to university. I graduated in 2019. That was a very quick version of that. And my background is mostly in events and festivals. So festivals, I started volunteering at the Heb Celt Festival, which is up on the Isle of Lewis, where my family are from. That opportunity led me to work at other festivals across Scotland. And when I graduated, I was able to graduate straight into an event office manager role at Transmit and Glasgow Summer Sessions, which are some of Glasgow's largest festivals. That was, of course, an amazing experience. I then went into another retail role, but this time a retail events role. That was with Essence of Harris, a small candle making company from the Isle of Harris, surprisingly. From there, the pandemic happened, and during the pandemic, I felt really lost. Straight into industry, wiped from underneath me, it felt like. So I created a community called Event Grads to kind of share our knowledge, share advice, guidance, support each other through a really difficult time. And that was in June 2020. It's now been a year and a half. And during that period of time, I started working for a company called GRC World Forums as a project executive, where I gained a lot of virtual event experience, awards, forums, global conferences. I recently left that role to go freelance, and this is the beginning of my freelance journey, and I'm very excited. And I hope this gives me the opportunity to work on event grads more, as well as gaining experience within the industry that I love. And that's the quickest I think I've ever done. And was that even 60 seconds?
I think it was. No, it went over, but it's fine.
That felt like 10 seconds.
We've had longer. It's fine. No, Ace, look, I mean, through the next kind of 20 minutes or so, I really want to dig into some of those areas, because I think that there's so much to talk about in the world of events, and you've obviously started on a path where you kind of knew you wanted to go in that space. I want to dig into that, and of course, you've now got loads to share, which is great. But let's first do the fun stuff. So our next section is called Good Day, Bad Day, and I think it's really great that we really talk about all of the truths, the highs and lows of hospitality. Take us through your best day in your life and your worst day kind of since you started in the industry.
Yes, so I am bringing you back to Glasgow Square, and this is actually the exact same day, and I am trying to, it's funny, but it still hits home. So working at Glasgow Square, of course, you did get the VIPs to come and stay at the hotel. And this is my good day, by the way, so far. And I'm a big Pretty Woman fan. I don't know if you've ever watched Pretty Woman, anything with Julia Roberts in it, big fan. And it wasn't Julia Roberts, unfortunately, that came to stay, but it was Richard Gere. And this was, as soon as I found out Richard Gere was coming to stay, I was having arguments with my manager. It's like, no, I want to take him up. And she was like, no, I'm going to take him up to his room. And I was just so excited. I was like, I can't believe he's coming to stay. He was doing something for Glasgow Film Festival. And anyway, it came and he was on his way. And I was like, right, if I can't take him up to his room, like, where am I going to be? Because I had a quote and everything. I was planned. I was like, in Pretty Women, they stay at the Regent Beverly Wilshire. I was going to, make a bit of a joke, like, not quite Regent Beverly Wilshire, is it? Even though it pretty much is. He came along and I was able to hold the elevator for him. And this was the highlight of my life so far. Was able to hold the elevator open. He came in, gave me a smile, and I was like this close to Richard Gere. I was over the moon. So he went up, everything was fine. I hadn't taken a break all day because I was like, I'm not missing this. Went to take my break. This is the worst part. This is my bad day. I came back 30 minutes later, and I'm sure my friend Michael is probably watching. He ran up to me and was like, I've been up to his room 3 times and you were nowhere to be seen. I've delivered his luggage, I've got him some food, all this. That could have been you. You have no idea. I've debated never taking a break again because I missed out on that opportunity. But that was a very good day and a very bad day at the same time. We're obviously missing out on that. But I think in events and hospitality, it's the same thing. When it's a people business, it can be quite difficult. In many ways, you're having to problem solve, you're having to anticipate needs. There's, people that are very upset. And I think those were the bad days, the days that you did, even if it wasn't you disappointing someone, the days that people were disappointed and upset and they weren't able to be provided that experience you could provide, or the experience they could, they're away from home, they want to have a good experience. And I think those were really the bad days and the days that hit home, because you don't want anyone to ever feel that way. So even though that was my good bad day, I think the kind of worst days that came from both hospitality and events for me has been the days where unfortunately not been able to fully provide what you can to a customer or guest, and for whatever reason.
I think that's probably really common, isn't it? I think if you're building a career in hospitality, I think you quickly realize you love to serve and you actually love to help. You get a lot of joy from seeing the great experiences you can provide. It's typically not one person to blame when that goes wrong, but when you're dealing with the downfall of it, and we've all been there, right? We've all been away for anniversaries and birthdays and really important events to us. We're probably the most critical. We're kind of watching for things going wrong, but it's hard because you feel like those things are really special. And potentially, it'd be interesting to see what that's like coming out of the pandemic, because potentially even more so, right?
Absolutely,
we really are putting these things on a pedestal. And obviously, the industry's definitely got its challenges with finding great people right now. So no, really, really good stuff. And did you get a chance to meet Richard Gere again? Was there a fourth chance to go up to his room that you could take?
No, we went to bed. I was gutted. And I wasn't even working the morning shift the next day, so didn't get to check him out. But that's still one of the things that I think about a lot when I think about the good days.
Yeah, no, amazing. No, good stuff. Fab. Well, look, our next section's called Last Day on Earth, and this is much more about you. This is much more about, look, obviously we'd never wish ill on anyone, but there were just one more hospitality experience you could get, would love to know in that last day, what is the hotel is on your dream list? What restaurant have you got in mind? And perhaps with your experience in life, what's that one event that you think about when you dream about events?
So the hotel one was an easy one for me. It's not blighted. So those programs on TV, I couldn't even tell you what they were called, but the ones about hotels around the world, basically. Yeah. You get to see those experiences, and there's that one in Africa with the giraffes. That would be second on my list. Yeah. But number one for me is Fogo Island Inn, and I don't know if anyone's ever seen this one before, but it's a really interesting project, and it takes place on an island in Newfoundland. So it's an island off Canada. Right. And Fogo Island Inn is really interesting because it takes the locals, and everything from the food to the cushions to the design of the hotel has been structured around the locals, and they deal with a lot in regards to outward migration, kind of like the islands of Scotland, where people leave to get better jobs or and education and things like that. And they were finding that the skills and trades like fishing and crafts were all depleting. So this hotel comes along, and they build this hotel on a structure that looks like the village's hotel. So it's right on, like there's constant snow, it's right next to the water, it's quite harsh conditions, and they're on stilts, and they've built this hotel on stilts, very similar to the way that the houses are, to kind of blend in with the nature. And the whole hotel, even though it is quite expensive, it's like 5-star, they get really celebrities staying, it is quite expensive. But it's because they're using the locals, the food, all the money goes back into the community. And I think that really struck me. And it's a really beautiful, if I could ever have that amount of money to be able to stay there, that's the first place I would go. And if I was to spend my last day in hospitality, that's where I would go. Yeah. But that's my hotel. I would definitely recommend having a look at that. And food-wise, restaurant-wise, when I moved to Glasgow, similar time with Blythewood, there was a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Family-owned restaurant, and it was an Italian restaurant. And Italian's my favorite meals, my favorite food. And this family-owned Italian was our absolute go-to for me, my family, my friends while we were in Glasgow. And it was the most delicious food. They looked after us so well. The service was out of this world. I've had about 3 birthdays there. My brothers had birthdays there. We had our big 21st there. And I don't think they actually survived through the pandemic, which was really heartbreaking. But, the service and the people really made that, and the food was obviously delicious as well. But if I could have one last meal at Kwa, I absolutely would.
Brilliant.
And in regards to events, this was a very hard one. I've split it down the middle. So if I was to go to one last event, it would be the Hebridean Celtic Festival, which is where I started my career in events and festivals. It's also where my family are from, and it's also I also did my dissertation on it. So I'm a big fan of Hebcelt. Have a look, it's amazing. But it's between Hebcelt and if I was to do an Eventgrads live event where I could bring everyone together for a last hurrah, it'd be a mix between Hebcelt and Eventgrads live. Nice, I like it. Give us your vision for Eventgrads live then. Give it. Who would be your guest speakers? What would be that itinerary? My goodness.
I know you've thought about it.
Oh, it's been written up about 3 times. So I don't know if anyone's ever looked at Create and Cultivate, which is an American female business event that takes place in America, and they do things so differently. The stage it's not your corporate stuffy suits conference. It is fun. It is like everything to do with a woman in business. It is there, and it's always something I've always wanted to go to replicate myself. So if it was Eventgrads live, I'd have oh my goodness, right, this is going to sound so funny, but from it through education, we were really we'd like to fangirl, kind of as a joke, over our the academics. And this sounds going to sound really weird, but there's a guy called Getz, and if anyone's done festivals and events, they know Donald Getz, and he's a Canadian academic. He does a lot about the theory around festivals and events. He would be my keynote speaker. I would love to just meet him after writing about so much. My whole dissertation was Gets. So he would be my keynote. I'd love to get people from Glastonbury, you know, these big festivals and events where it almost feels as a young event professional quite untouchable. I'd love to get them along and just get to know them and, you know, kind of have that really once in a lifetime experience at Event Grads Live. It would be, you know, purple probably everywhere because that's our colours. It would be a fun day, and it wouldn't be your standard education learning experience. It would be one of those learning experiences where you come away and you're like, wow, I cannot wait to implement this. And it'd be action, it'd be workshops, it'd be meeting new people. And I just can't wait for that day, to be honest.
I love it. That sounds great. Well, definitely put me down for an invite for that. I'll be.
You are keynote in the afternoon after Gets.
Definitely not the headline act. Like that's been picked for years, but no, all good. Love those choices. It feels like there's a real theme of connection there, right? And I think if you look at hospitality and accommodation, it's definitely getting more rooted into the local experiences. You know, when you go to a resort, you really are thinking, well, actually, how has the kind of local culture been brought into the resort? Are they looking after kind of the local workers, and how are we kind of able to get out and about and experience it? So I love that. I'll definitely be checking out that place in Canada. And I think it sounds like the same is true of restaurants, right? We're definitely all looking for places that really fuel a kind of local energy and kind of neighborhood atmosphere. You got it. And then obviously nothing's more connected than these online communities like Event Grads and Atolo, where it's just like, actually, you just got to find your club, right? Who are those people who, you know, if we were in the same place, we'd all be going out together and be best friends, but we can't. But you can try and replicate that virtually by just finding people who can help you, guide you, support you, and that you can chip in. You can feel like you can play a part in where they're going to. So I love that. I'm going to say good stuff. Look, our last section is called the guest book, and I definitely wanted to spend a chunk of time with this together because, you know, typically, Naomi, some of our mentors come from all around the industry, right? Kind of hotels, vacation rental, dining, restaurants, bars, and of course, you know, events, the supply chain, and vendors. You know, you may know you're obviously one of our kind of younger mentors. I think it's critically important that mentorship is about what you've got to give and the way you listen and absorb, way more than it's just about experience. But I think people would really value from hearing a little bit about you, really. What are some of the lessons that you've learned in some of these quite challenging years, you know, before graduating, since graduation, that you'd love to pass on to others who are going to be kind of following your footsteps? We'd love to start there and get your perspective.
Absolutely. So I've kind of written this down in advance because I really wanted to bring together kind of my knowledge and understanding and what I've kind of learned over the last couple of years, because I think it's easy to kind of say words or, you know, have those inspirational quotes that you can't really implement, and you don't see how it implements into your life or to the where you are in your career. And my three things that I've come up with is to be proactive, to use your initiative, and to network. And with network, your network is so much more than your net worth. I know that is a phrase you hear all the time. Your network is your net worth, but it's so much more. And I'm going to come back to that. So proactive as a word, initiative as a word, are very commonly used. And, you know, you add it to your CV and you think nothing of it. So I thought I'd do a little bit of research into it because it's something I've been kind of described as before. And it's something I really want to work towards and strive towards being. So proactive is basically being, you're creating or controlling a situation rather than just responding to it. You're taking responsibility, you're anticipating needs, and you seek out opportunities. And in the hospitality and events world, you can't sit back and wait for things to come to you. You need to go out there, you need to be active, you need to find these opportunities, because if I look at where I am now and I look back, I can see the path that's led me here. But at that time when I was thinking, what the heck am I going to do? Or what's my next steps? Or what's the future look like? I couldn't even picture where I am now. I had no idea. So being open to that, but also being proactive and taking opportunities, even if you don't see the future and don't see where you're going with that. If you're proactive now and you're looking for options, you're looking online, you're doing your research, you're thinking outside the box more than just the role that you're in. I think that's really, really key. The next one is an initiative. And that's another word I learned probably in my final year of university, where it was like, right, what can I add to my CV to make me look, stand out? So using your initiative, this has been described to me from event grads, for example, as a point of view. I used my initiative to create event grads, and it came from a need that I needed. It came from a demand for event students and graduates to need a place to communicate and meet new people and to share their experiences. So using your initiative means acting instead of reacting. And that really hit home for me. It's to do without being told what to do. It's using your common sense. It's finding out what you need to know, and it's spotting and taking advantage of opportunities. And if I think about my time as a receptionist, for example, something like using your initiative was something as little as you see, it's raining outside and you need to put a mat down. I know that's really small, but it's doing something without being told, and that will stand you in really great stead with your team, with your management. And it is really the little things. If it came to it and, your management were looking for, I don't know, somebody to lead a project or to support them with something that can lead into something else, they're going to look at people who are using their initiative over those who stand back and wait to be told what to do. And from a freelance perspective and learning about freelancing, which is quite new to me, using your initiative is really important for these opportunities, because if you're joining a team for, say, a small project, they don't want somebody who's just going to sit there and like, right, tell me what I need to do. They want someone who can act proactively again, and using their initiative and common sense to support their team, because they wouldn't hire you if you could do what you can do. So please, when it comes to initiative, think about these things if you're at the beginning of your career. And with networking is quite a daunting phrase. It can be, again, corporate suits, you can kind of think it that way. Networking in the modern world is so different. It's making friends, it's building relationships, it's learning how you can support someone and someone can support you. It's voicing what you need, it's voicing how that person can help you or you can help them. And even if they can't help you at that point, networking is a long-term investment. Speaking of, again, freelancing, there was a job that I went for this time last year that I didn't get, and I was quite gutted about it. I announced recently that I went freelance, and they got in touch with me pretty much straight away, being like, do you know what, we have a couple of projects we could offer you. That is gone full circle. And that is because of networking and not burning bridges and being yourself and being kind. And even if that role's not for you, there's going to be something that's going to come up in the long term. You never know where your relationships and your networking will take you. So when it comes to networking, don't fear it. Make friends. Think of that person as a friend. And I think at the early stage of your career, you may not be a buyer or a supplier, which a lot of networking events and maybe bigger events, or with C-suite people, that's kind of what that can be sometimes, selling for a business. It is so much more than that. It is building relationships that will be your foundation when you get to those stages when you're older, or when you're in a bigger role and you need support, or you need I know exactly the person that can help me with that. Or you never know the person you're talking to. Before I forget, network with those in your company that aren't in your, if you're in reception, if I take it from Glasgow perspective, if you're in reception and somebody works in the bar or the restaurant, you might not see other than work that direct kind of how they can benefit you in your future, in your career, because maybe you're going in different routes, maybe you're at different stages of your career. You have no idea where that person is going to be in the future. They could be a general manager in the future. And if you're friends with them, you've got a really good relationship with them, you're kind to them, you look after them, you never know where that's going to lead you in the future. And I think you should be kind without even thinking about it, like, or without thinking about what they can do for you in the future. Be kind, because again, you never know. But at the same time, there's so many opportunities that can come from networking. I see it now, people that are in roles that I come to for support, or that are doing really great things, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'd love to support that, or I would love to support you. Or, networking is a long-term investment. So make friends, be nice to people, use your common sense, be proactive. And that was probably longer than that 60-second thing earlier, but that's my 3 key points.
No, that's great. Cheers. I think they're all really critical, right? And I think I could definitely sit here with probably a bit more experience and absolutely agree with all of that. But it's really easy for me to do that, right? But certainly in my last 18 months of building, Atollo, I suppose, is really a network of hospitality people, each trying to find their club within the industry. Yeah. I completely agree. And everyone that's helped me is, I can see they're leaning on their own networks, right? As you get further into your career, you're like, well, if I need an answer quickly, I need to tap into someone quickly who can help me and wants to help me and trust me. And I think the broader we can make that, this group of people that have got your back, I suppose, then the better we'll do. If it's just one or two, that's fine. You can have one or two really kind of trusted people. But if you can make that 100 people, 1,000 people who, when you ask for help, they're like, actually, I would like to help this person. We've got enough in common. I think that's really powerful.
Absolutely.
I want to tap into your own kind of experience a bit, because this is all a great set of advice. But for you, when did stuff start making sense like this? Because I can imagine when I was back to kind of 18, 19, 20, I was not thinking like this, right? And I sometimes try and wonder, well, when was it that I suddenly started realizing some of these lessons were the way I had to go? For you, what was it? For you, when did you go from just kind of, someone going through jobs and thinking about, I've got to go to work, to actually realizing that there's an opportunity to do so much more with your career?
Absolutely. That's quite a tough question, actually, because I think there's maybe a couple of key points that stand out. And I think, well, obviously when I finished school, for example, I had, again, no idea what I wanted to do. Wasn't really, the me now is very different to me then. And so I did join college and university a little bit older, which I think helped a little bit in regards to understanding the value of, or I was there for a reason. I was at college and uni for a reason. And I think in Scotland, for example, with education, it's very easy to go to education. So I do think that kind of filters into it a wee bit. But I was one of those people that jumped at opportunities. Every time something came up, I was doing it. And I don't know where that came from. I'll need to try and figure that out. But every time an opportunity came up, I was like, oh my goodness, that'd be so exciting. But then I'd talk to friends and be like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? I don't really know where that came from, that kind of tenacity. Is that the right word? Probably not. To kind of jump into these opportunities. And I think maybe graduating was when it hit home the hardest, that, joining these networks and being proactive in this way and jumping at opportunities. Like when I graduated, I realized that education's only going to get you so far. Like you need to do so much more to stand out. Like they're churning out how many graduates a year. So I saw that as an opportunity in itself to stand out, to figure out what it is I really wanted to do, because, events and hospitality is a very big space. So figuring out like what direction I kind of wanted to go down. But I do think the pandemic is the third and probably the most key point in that journey, because I had to do something.
Yeah.
And I could have sat back, which is absolutely fine. It's not the kind of person I am. I'm very, I can't sit still. I need to be doing things. And I think that the pandemic was the shock to the system I needed. But also when I think about what I did during the pandemic, I think about how that was me coping and how I was controlling the uncontrollable at the time. So I think the key points are very much those what they called like landmarks, those key times in your lives, like graduation. The pandemic obviously was a big key point. And yeah, I would say it's a tough question. I'd probably have to think about.
I'm like, probably should have let you know I was going to ask that. No, it's just something I was dwelling on. I mean, I think if I were to, I don't know the root causes of it either, but you obviously there's a couple of things going on, right? You have this proactivity, right? Whether that's a need to keep busy or keep going, you definitely have you want to make things happen and create opportunities. And then I think this is really common in hospitality. I think it's really common in entrepreneurialism. You also have a real optimism as well, probably a real sense that things are going to go well, and you're going to kind of throw yourself into stuff. So they're amazing qualities. I just sometimes think I know from working on Atollo and from building our own networks, not everyone thinks the same way. And I always wonder, actually, what is our role as mentors to try and unpick some of these opportunities and some of these ways of approaching opportunities and problems, I suppose, that you seem to have.
Absolutely. I think it's like, I'd love to know where it came from. I'm actually going to start thinking about that, because I think that would be a really helpful thing when mentoring and trying to figure out, because I think it would be completely wrong of me to assume that someone thinks the same way, and not everyone's had the same opportunities, and it's not been easy for a lot of people. And I don't think going into that with that mindset would be completely incorrect, and it would be, a fair learning experience. So I think finding out where that comes from and like how to kind of, but I do think looking ahead and seeing others who have done it, the inspiration side of things, I think inspired me, and I think that can inspire others, because it broadens the horizons, broadens the perspectives, because I think sometimes it's very easy to forget how, when I graduated, I didn't realize how big the hospitality and events industry was. And because of event grads, I have been able to figure that out. So I think sometimes it is that looking at how others have got to where they are now.
No, fantastic. Look, and if we have more time, I'd really love to explore that with you as well, because I think that hospitality is so diverse, as we talk about all the time. And you really have, you found your place, right? That you've got that passion. You've gone from hotels now into this world of events. You've worked for companies that just have an events team. You've worked for events companies. Now you're freelance and you've got this community. I can really see how it kind of, you've carved your path, and it's great to find that early. And we're really thankful to have you on Atollo as a mentor to share some of that journey and help other people pick that up. You've gone on that journey pretty fast. I think it's great to be able to plug people into some of those answers that they're looking for, and influence hundreds of people beyond what you do. So amazing work.
Thank you. And thank you for Atollo. I can't thank you enough. It's such an incredible platform. I've learned so much from it. I've met so many people, and it really is the future of hospitality. And I think you're able to bring people together the way we were saying, like as connectors, which I guess we are connectors.
Trying.
But those mentoring relationships are really vital in your career. So if you're not on Atollo already, I 112% recommend it.
Thanks, Naomi. There you go. That's it. The lovin's complete. Now, in all seriousness, I do try and stick to kind of 30 minutes because I think it's just really important. We just do these kind of short, sharp chats and get fun, interesting, insightful stuff out there. So I think we've done that, which is great. So the kind of last section, I suppose, is the checkout, really, which is a bit of a wrap up. So firstly, obviously, a massive thank you. It's been great to have you here. Great to hear more about Event Grads, which I know is free to join and a great way to tap into an instant network. And very, very similar to Atollo. It's just about bringing together, quite frankly, fun people who are trying to find their path and collaborate, which is ace. At any point, please do feel free to join Atollo if you're watching and listening. It's at myatollo.com. At the core of it, there's a community full of events and content and helping people find their clubs with different groups. We also have a connections offering where people can get mentoring, meet people like Naomi or leaders from right across the hospitality industry of all different levels of experience. And we're just developing our courses, which are kind of short, sharp courses that people can plug into, powered by mentors to prepare for your first management job or really kind of set yourself straight on some of those core skills you need to learn. So lots more to come. Check out myatollo.com on social media or do join. But that's it from me. We are back next Tuesday with Alec Dalton. Alec has been a mentor at Atollo for about 18 months. He works at Marriott in the customer experience team. Customer experience is very, very hot news right now with lots of great stuff happening. He's also an accomplished author, so very, very kind of thoughtful and experienced on the subject. Looking forward to that one. But for now, Naomi, massive thanks for joining us this lunchtime. It's been great to hear your experience and all the best with your new freelancing and your Event Grads venture.
And you. Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure. Stay safe. All the best. Take care. Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.